Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2025 release 825 Forest Road. It's a Shudder original and it's coming on Friday, April 4th. So this is a no spoiler review. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this one was directed and written by Stephen Cognetti. Now, some people may be saying, Stephen Cognetti, that sounds so familiar. Hell House LLC, that franchise of films, that's Stephen Cognetti. So if you are a fan of that franchise, maybe you just want to support this guy for that reason, because I'm going to tell you, it is not found footage. So I was interested to see, how does Cognetti make the jump from doing only found footage films that people know of and to a scripted regular type of film that's not found footage? And for me, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I probably enjoyed it more than the Hell House LLC films, but that's mainly because I am not a found footage fan. So I know there are a lot of people who love that franchise. I understand why people love that franchise. It's just, it's not for me. It's not my thing. But it was interesting to see what he would do with a non-found footage film. And actually, I have a feeling that he was kind of like champing at the bit to be like, I would like to do something different at this point. Let's do something different. So again, Shudder original coming Friday, April 4th. So the story on this one, it's about a family that's kind of cobbled together in a sense, that has been hit by grief. The mother has passed, and the youngest daughter is moving in with her older brother and his wife into a new home. And it's a home that's been sitting on the market for 3 years, in a very weird scene where the realtor's just basically like, oh yeah, I don't really know much about this place, even though it's been sitting on the market for 3 years. Oh yeah, it's probably fine. And then the people who take who actually purchase it are like, yeah, I'm sure it's nothing that it's been sitting on the market for 3 years. There's no problem here. So kind of speaking to the fact that not everything feels believable with characters. Speaks to some of the kind of writing issues that I have with this film, but there are some good things about this film, so I will say that. But that's kind of the synopsis. They move into this house, and then weird things are happening, and people in the neighborhood are saying, in the whole town are kind of saying things about this house and the people who have lived at this house before. And it's one of those type of mystery things where there's going to be some sort of investigation by people to kind of figure out what's really going on here and why are some weird things starting to happen. So not totally unfamiliar ground for Cognetti, because with the Hell House LLC, there are some overlaps in that sense. But I would say personally that from a stepping back from not liking found footage, I would say that the Hell House LLC films are better, in my opinion. It immediately looks and feels super low budget, super low budget, which you should expect. If it's a Shudder original, it's going to be very low budget. So just know that the people who are receiving the money to make these films, they're not working with a lot. So they do what they can. So it is good to support them. So I would, say that every film was watching at least once, at least to just find out how you personally feel about that film, because I'm overall going to give this a negative review. Not super negative, but overall a negative review. Doesn't mean you won't like it or love it even. Like, there are going to be people out there who see it and they're like, wow, love that film. The acting is rough in this one. Not a big fan of the acting. It's not the worst, and it is a little bit lower grade than what I expected from this film, especially because Cognetti has worked with plenty of actors who have done pretty decent jobs before. Was not impressed with the cast. There are a few people in the cast who I thought did a decent job, but for the most part, as a whole, the cast wasn't great. It was kind of rough, like I said. The other problem, though, that kind of hinders the cast from being better is that the dialogue's not very well written. It really isn't. A lot of it's very cliche stuff that's being said, and a lot of it is people don't talk this way to each other. And that goes to just dialogue is hard to write, and not everyone is good at writing dialogue. I do think that Cognetti really could have used a little bit of help. I don't know if he had other people read the script. That's quite possible, and just kind of say, hey, I think maybe change this, maybe change that. If he didn't, I really think probably should have, just to get some other eyes on it, because that's always helpful. Like, I've written scripts in the past, not for anything that, like, had a budget. I've only done like no budget short films basically, and I've also written like a feature length script and a TV pilot that never went anywhere. But I know that writing dialogue is not simple. It's not easy. You have to try and give a different way of talking and a different voice to all the different characters, and it's hard. It's very hard. And when I started writing, it was the same the same style of talk and the same voice for every single character. So I know it's tough, but in this instance, I will say the dialogue stands out as not being so great, and that hinders the actors on top of their performances not being the best. So it is a little rough. Too much ends up being said in this film instead of being shown. That goes back to the writing being a bit of a problem. Over explaining things to the audience through the dialogue that characters are having. Show it, don't tell it. You know, these characters don't need to explicitly say things to the audience, which is what some of these lines have been in the film. Show it. Show it through things that are going on with the story. The story is engaging enough to make you want to see where it goes. It sets up an interesting premise with the house. You want to know what is the story behind the people who have lived there, what's going on in this town, why do so many people seem to know about what's going on in this town potentially, and also why are they not telling these people outright, don't buy this house, or when they first meet them, why did you buy this house? Maybe you should leave, that type of thing. So there is enough interest to keep going, and it is a decent story, I will say. The execution of it, not a huge fan. They do have chapters for different characters, which I do like that, because there are scenes that overlap between those characters. It'll just be like, from this person's perspective, then from this person's perspective, then this person's perspective. So it is cool to see the same scene shown more than once, but with a different perspective to it. I like that aspect of it. I love that Cognetti thought about that, and I like how it does play out. That is one of the strengths of the film, in my opinion. The pacing is pretty good until the 45-minute mark, so I do have to give a lot of credit to Cognetti for making the pacing feel as good as it does up until that point. But at about the 45-minute mark, it really starts to get a lot slower. It feels like he's getting a little bit stuck with his writing, doesn't really know how to progress the story so much. So you just get stuck in a lot of these interactions and a lot of these scenes going on that just really overstay their welcome, unfortunately. The film needs cut down probably by about 30 minutes, in my opinion, and I think it was an hour and 41 minutes with credits. When you start this film, you're definitely going to feel like there's no way that this film should be over an hour and a half. And then you'll look and be like, it is over an hour and a half. And it shouldn't even have been an hour and a half, probably closer to, an hour and 15 maybe. Because, again, is something I keep trying to push in my reviews. A film should really only take as much time as the story needs. Now, there are going to be these times where filmmakers feel like it does need more, even though someone like me will feel like that's not the case, and that's fine. But there are definitely those times where you feel it, that they're just trying to stretch it to a certain runtime. Now, I'm not saying that Cognetti tried to do that. I'm just saying in general, because there have been those types of films where I'm like, it is very clear with this film, they were just trying to stretch it to hit a certain runtime. I don't think that's the case with Cognetti, but it's just something that, I like to throw out there. There's scares in this. They're very weak. I think the scares that Cognetti had done in the Hell House films, which I think I've seen 2 of them. Definitely the first one, maybe 2 of them. Oh, yeah, because I reviewed 1, maybe 2, actually. So maybe I've seen as much as 3 of them. That is possible. But anyway, they're on my YouTube channel, the reviews. You can check it out. But yeah, there are the scares, and I think that the scares that he had in the Hell House films are definitely a lot better and a lot more effective than the scares that he has in this film. They're super weak, and they're super infrequent, unfortunately. It's underwhelming, unfortunately. And I really had higher hopes that those types of things would be good, because he did a pretty good job with those things in the Hell House films. There's one big reveal at the end of the film, but everyone's going to see it coming. It's not a big reveal. The film treats it like, oh my gosh, this moment, it's a huge reveal. And everyone's going to be like, okay, we all knew it was going here. Like, why are we trying to make this a big moment? Like, this was assumed within probably the first 15 minutes of the film. So, yeah, those types of things bother me, where it's kind of like the person who's making the film feels like the audience is going to be dumber than they are. And it feels patronizing, unfortunately. But I know, that type of stuff isn't necessarily intentional. It's just, it's hard to write. It is. But anyway, those are my thoughts on 825 Forest Road. I wasn't a huge fan of it. Out of 5 stars, half stars, and play, I'm going to give it a 2-star rating. I think Cognetti's, I don't know if Cognetti's going to go back to found footage after this or try and continue down this road, but I think you're doing better with the found footage, so maybe go to that. And people were loving it. People were loving the Hell House film, so, there's a future there for sure. But anyway, thank you everyone for checking this out. If you want to support me, you can hit subscribe to my channel. You can do the thumbs up on the video, helps with that YouTube algorithm. Or if you want to pitch in a little bit monetarily for the time I'm putting into this, you can do that as well. I have 3 tiers of membership with some perks to this channel. Link in the description. You can check that out. Small fees monthly for some pretty interesting perks, I think. But anyway, thank you everyone for checking this out. I appreciate your time. And until next time, keep it brutal.